So, Clint, I wanted to bring up with you that the Air Force created a trademark for and to use other NFT patents. So, basically, they trademark this new metaverse related NFT thing. It's like Spaceverse. And
Okay.
so, as you can see, it's like a secure digital metaverse that converges terrestrial and space, physical, and digital realities, and provides synthetic and simulated extended reality training, testing, and operations environments. So it's basically they've applied for a patent for, and it's called a metaverse trademark application. This got a Mike. I can't pronounce his last name. He like reports on all the different patents that come through that are metaverse related. So this is specifically for like their like training, but in virtual reality.
Okay.
I thought
That's
that I thought that was strange, basically.
yeah.
So I don't really know why they need to patent this space verse thing. I'm not quite sure. I guess I guess it's for like the secure digital part to it, and I guess it makes sense to do it because you might need security around the actual like testing and understanding behind like training in virtual reality. I guess you need it more than just a virtual reality sim. I'm not really sure why though.
Where does the NFT come into play? Like,
Okay,
is the
I don't know if the NFTs come into play here, but
okay?
they're also creating. There's some other places like Napa. I've got down there at the bottom left is creating a new NFT metaverse trademark application. So it's for like different vehicles. You know, Napa's like an automobile company. So they're wanting to do it for virtual vehicle repair, virtual clothing, other virtual stores, and NFTs and NFT backed media. So I'm not really sure how the hell that's even going to make any sense in the metaverse. A virtual vehicle repair, like what sense does that make?
Yeah, I don't really. Maybe it's like
Yeah, that's what the question
advertising.
is. Like virtual car repair? Question mark. What the hell?
I'm thinking maybe it's like some sort of way to advertise.
Right, but it implies that there will be some kind of metaverse platform that's going to allow driving of cars, and that cars can get hurt in the metaverse, and that you would need to repair them. That seems hard to believe.
That's true. Yeah.
I thought that was interesting. I guess my point is of all this of this whole slide is real companies are taking it seriously and doing different trademarks. I mean, and also the Space Force, or it's actually the Air Force, is making the Spaceverse. So they're the military. The different companies are taking it very seriously. Is my point.
Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, I'm surprised that a company like Napa is doing something like that.
I mean, they're
It's
not
kind
a
of shocking.
technological company at all.
Yeah.
It says retail store services online and in virtual reality platforms, namely operating a retail store online and in the metaverse, online worlds, or other virtual reality platforms selling tangible and virtual goods featuring home delivery and store pickup of tangible goods and downloadable digital goods. So I think they're also going to use it as a way to sell their items in the
So it's like a
metaverse.
okay. So it's like a virtual store almost.
Well, I think that's one part of it, but then they're also talking about the virtual vehicle repair. Now that doesn't make any sense
Maybe okay. Well, I mean, a lot of
because
times
it's talking about
don't.
virtual automotive parts.
Well, don't a lot of companies like submit these trademarks and stuff because they want to like retain the potential to do something, not necessarily like they're going to do something.
Well, I mean, I think that's definitely true too. I don't think they have real concrete plans, but they have some sort of plans. Okay, motor
Yeah.
vehicle repair services online and in virtual reality platforms, namely providing virtual vehicle service and repairs that are experienced or downloadable in Metaverse. No, this is not talking about certain like shopping online stuff. Some of it is, I think, for sure. But that
Yeah,
is
I think it's like
saying they're
half.
but there's that is saying they're talking about actually repairing cars and
Yeah,
doing different. I don't even
that's weird.
I don't even know how to make sense of that.
Yeah, I see. I would have expected it would have been like technology companies that would do this type of stuff, and not necessarily, a repair shop. You
Well,
know.
the one thing Mark Zuckerberg keeps saying is it's going to require everybody, all the companies, all the different products in the world to make the metaverse a reality. And I think where he's coming from that is it's the same gold rush essentially as the internet was. Every company got on board with it. Everybody's got a website. Everybody's got a digital footprint now.
Right. It's basically every company is going to be required to do that to compete.
Yep. I mean, I think and my friend who works at Facebook spoke about what Mark like plans on doing, and he envisions when you'll be able to go into a grocery store and virtually shop, and then the grocery stores will arrive at your door.
Right.
It'll be a virtual shop. You can have a virtual shopping experience.
I don't.
I think I bet not groceries probably not the best example. He said specifically trying on fashion items.
Okay. I was say, yeah, like going to the grocery store, that'd be kind of pointless. But
Yeah, the grocery store would be
um,
pointless, but the fashion stuff I could see more so.
yeah, I could see that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and yeah,
I never really thought that. I guess I never really envisioned it going past technology companies. But now that like it's happening, it makes sense.
well, and it's a platform. The see Facebook, I think what they're trying to do, or Meta, whatever, they're creating the virtual reality headsets. They're creating one of the platforms people can go to, and they're wanting it to be the Facebook of the metaverse. And people will be able to create pages and more interactive stuff than before. But they're really saying the metaverse is going to be like an extension of the internet today. The next version of the internet, essentially. Web
Yeah.
3.0 is the what people call it. It's going to be built a lot on Ethereum, a lot of the cryptocurrency stuff. But also there'll be plenty of centralized solutions too for all this
Well,
stuff.
see, I wonder with like this Napa thing, if there i- if there would be like a repair shop that's already created and they're just like slapping Napa on it, you know?
Oh, well, it depends on the platform. I mean, it's hard for me to believe that they're going to, because you have to have some technical chops to some degree to create this
Right.
stuff.
Yeah, I don't think they would develop this.
No, but there could be. I one thing, at least Meta's like encouraging different companies to create stuff on the metaverse, like create different things. So maybe this
Do
is
they have
easy to do. I don't know if the tools are easier or what.
right? Do they have some sort of kit or something?
Yeah, there's kits already for creating stuff within at least Facebook's version of it.
Is it user friendly or is it?
I don't
I know.
know
No,
exactly. So I mean, I would hope it's user friendly because he keeps saying you don't need to know how to code to do it. I don't know how that's possible,
okay.
but
Okay.
I'm not exactly sure. It might be kind of like Second Life. I think it's like Second Life on steroids.
I was about to say that. That's like what I was thinking.
Yeah, I mean, this is taking the same ideas from Second Life and from remember that PlayStation Home. Do you remember that?
Yeah. Mm,
These are the same ideas, except it's just being expanded, and there's a lot more buy-in now from major companies. And it's not just going to be one platform; it's going to be a bunch of different platforms. But yeah, I agree with you. It does seem hard to believe Napa would be creating this IT stuff, but it could be, like you said, they're just going to slap their trademark on something that somebody else actually built. Well, they could always outsource it. They could pay somebody to do it.
that's true. Yeah. Yeah. There's nothing stopping them from doing that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's like I think maybe to draw a comparison, it's like website builders. There's metaverse builders, maybe.
Right. Yeah, that's a good way to look at it.
Well, and another evolution I think that's going to happen. You know how we're all working from home. A lot of people are. Is is that you'll be able to do increasingly more physical tasks that you have to get together to do in the metaverse. Like you'll be able to do your little testing or whatever you're doing, or looking at your different parts or designing that you may need to do more in person that you won't have to do in person anymore. I think there'll always be a physical need to go to work, but it's supposed to replace some of the work activities that are necessary for work. Like right now, we got meetings replaced, and IT jobs are
It would
going to be,
depend on
you know,
it would depend on your job, really.
right. But if there's like more hands-on design, I can kind of see that potentially.
I can see that from if you're like an engineer or something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because IT right now is totally replaced. I mean, you don't need IT jobs, in the office unless you're dealing with physical hardware. There's no need to.
right.
But there could be. I mean, I think that's the same engineers. A lot of them need to go to the office, so maybe that'll replace even more of them. I'm not sure, and make it to where they don't have to go in. There's also
Yeah.
some people I've heard saying that it's going to make it to where surgeons don't need to be at the surgical thing, and there's going to be robots
I
doing it, and they're going to
that
control it.
that might be like way down the line. I don't see that
Well, I
anytime
mean,
soon.
the Air Force. There's a lot of people who sit there and man drones that don't actually go into the battlefield.
It's true.
I don't know. Yeah, I think it's way down the line too. It's not anytime soon. But that's
And
the
it wouldn't
idea.
be through
It's just,
Metaverse though.
no, I think you're missing the bigger definition of the metaverse. It's not like it's one platform. It's basically just like increased. The bigger definition of the metaverse is the internet. Like we're already in it or whatever.
Okay.
So it's like expanding the metaverse or whatever. So basically, I think what a lot of people's definition, or at least what I understand it to be, is it's just our relationship with technology essentially, and it's just like this new name for it. I don't know why they call it that now. It's basically the internet, because you don't need to call it the metaverse ever. You could just keep saying it's just the internet becoming more improved and more interactive.
My understanding of Metaverse is it's just a platform like Facebook is or something.
But it's not just going to be one platform. It's going to be a bunch of platforms that make up the metaverse.
Okay, that's what you're saying.
Like there's going to be the Facebook platform. There's going to be other decentralized platforms. There's going to be a Microsoft platform. There's going to be an Nvidia platform. They've already announced it.
This is all being like fueled by Facebook.
No, Facebook's just one company who's doing it, and they've gone all in on the idea and renamed their whole company Meta.
Okay, so they didn't make Metaverse?
No, no.
I thought
This
they did.
their their company is called Meta. That's why it gets confusing. It's because they are going all in on the idea and calling their whole company Meta. They're just creating one metaverse platform. Microsoft is creating one too. Nvidia is as well, and there's also going to be decentralized metaverses too. They're built on blockchain.
Okay. I see what you're saying. Okay.
So, but the whole idea is all of those things. It's like I said, it's metaverse is basically just the internet, but more. What's the word? More interactive, more
Right.
presence
It's
or whatever.
it's the virtual internet or whatever.
Right, and Meta's just going all in on it, basically. So
Okay. I didn't understand that.
yeah, it's so yeah. Napa's not necessarily because you see it says virtual platforms.
Right. Okay.
So it could be one on Facebook stuff, Meta stuff, and then one on Nvidia, one on Microsoft, one on some decentralized one. But that's why I think Meta has to be nice to Ethereum and blockchain, because the whole idea is that you'll be able to buy something in one of them and take them to another one. So like your digital goods will be malleable or usable. Usable, a better way to put it. and on each of the different platforms, you'll be able to buy something in Meta's thing, and then you'll be able to take it into Microsoft's thing, or take it onto some decentralized thing, because they're all based on the blockchain, and the blockchain makes it more interoperable than ever before. The idea is basically, when you buy something on a video game today, you can only use it within that video game. Imagine if you could take that same thing and bring it into other video games.
Right. Yeah.
I do find it hard to see how that you'd actually be able to use it in any meaningful way in between the different platforms. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And there'd
Like,
have to be some sort of cohesive.
like if you take the car idea, imagine you buy a car in Grand Theft Auto or something, and then you take it into Facebook or something somehow. Like,
Like, how would that work?
I don't know. That's what I don't understand. Maybe there must have to be a lot of. I can kind of see a way that it could work is if you have these blockchains that could read ideas from read like variables from one and then input it into another as another set of variables, and then there has to be programming in place to handle cars though. And if there isn't any programming in place, all I'd probably do is bring in like a JPEG or something. Nothing that complicated.
Right. Yeah. And
These
that's one way. Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like
I
if
bet you're going to have a lot of companies like collaborating with each other, and I bet like certain stuff would be more interactive with certain platforms.
But the reason why I think it's going to be very important that they're decentralized is if you try to centralize everything, it's going to be fucking impossible. Because that means you're going to have to make each of these little things.
Oh yeah, that would never work.
You have to make it to where these little side chains can just pop up that bridges different things.
Yeah.
And the people will do that because there's value that's being created from these side chains, and people are willing to invest their time into it. So it's basically like, how there's mods today. People do that because they just want to. So imagine if you give economic incentive into it, how much faster people will create and make these interoperable things between them. But if the platform doesn't support the blockchain stuff and support being able to bring in that different code, then it's not going to work.
Yeah.
Or it's not going to be very good. I thought that's my biggest fear is that Facebook's going to try to centralize everything and not embrace all the blockchain stuff. If they don't do it, they're screwed, in my opinion. But I don't know how it's all going to work, though, to be honest. Because it is kind of hard to imagine, especially from your perspective of being a programmer. It's like hard to imagine how this could even work.
Yeah. It seems like it's going to be really complicated, but at the same time, I think you can make it to where if everything's like you're saying decentralized and self-contained, like that's
the only way. That's the only way it's going to be able to bring in stuff, unless there's this company talking to this company and there's a bridge there, which I just don't think there would be enough to make it as cool as they're trying to make it out to be.
Right.
Because the idea is you'll be able to buy something in Farmville on Facebook, just to make an example, and take it into a Harvest Moon game if Nintendo's a part of it, or Harvest Moon is a part of it, or something. Somehow you'd be able to do that.
Okay, hypothetically, we would say like by default you'd get like a JPEG of your Farmville token or whatever.
Achievement. You could have achievements you can post on the wall. That would be just JPEGs or something.
Like that'd be like your default. But if they're collaborating with each other, then you might get like a house or something. I don't know, something that's like interactable.
If they're collaborating with each other, or if they're allowing decentralized side chains to bridge stuff in, then it can happen without the companies even talking to each other.
True. Yeah.
But that's why I think it's important. That's why a lot of people are thinking that decentralized metaverses will do better overall.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely got potential.
I think I think the biggest issue is companies getting in the way of each other for it to actually be as interoperable as they dream it to be. I think companies will get in each other's way. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think more than likely the first iteration of this, it's just going to be like JPEGs. I think it's pretty cool though, the idea that I could bring in my PlayStation trophies, for instance, into the metaverse, into my Facebook home, and like show them off.
You can like put them on a shelf or something.
Well, that'd be really cool. But even if it's just a JPEG showing my stuff off, and we like you, we that's my little space or whatever, and we can just hang out there and get other people that your friends that you never get to see anymore, and then actually feel present with them. I think it is a cool idea.
It is. Yeah, it's neat.
I just don't know. It's hard to imagine it being good though because I've used the virtual reality and it gives me a headache right now. So
I
it's
mean, the
hard.
virtual reality, it's got to have better right now.
What'd you say?
I said like the VR headsets, or whatever.
Yeah.
They need better resolution.
Well, also the other thing they're working on. I don't know if you knew this, but Meta, Facebook, is working on glasses, and I think other companies are too. Like literally just glasses, and you'll be able to see through them, and it'll be like augmented reality. So, say I'm in my other room on the couch, I could look at you, and you would appear on my couch, watching TV with me
That's neat.
somehow. And when I say
So
watching TV, I shouldn't say watching TV. I should say watching TV on your glasses. We'd be watching the same
it's
video.
probably like projecting it onto your glasses or something.
Correct. Yeah,
Right?
yeah, yeah. That's what I should say. But you could be on my couch or whatever, or right
Right.
next to me. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You just appear how you
That's neat.
appear. I don't know. I don't know how. I mean, that seems far. That seems like a Star Wars shit.
And they'd have to have like, you'd have to have a camera on yourself or something.
I would think so. Yeah. Or
If they're projecting or like an avatar, I guess.
I think the Avatar is what it's going to be at first.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be an Avatar first because I don't think they're going to have all that camera shit together.
Yeah, you're right.
Well, I thought it was interesting. Napa, that was just weird. Air Force, that's weird.
Yeah, that's weird.
And he's showing that the trademarks have just gone up every single month since January, and they just keep going up. For NFT related trademark stuff, there's a ton of them. So, like 1,023 in March. So people are starting to realize it's going to be a. I think if it isn't a big deal, people are convinced it's a big deal.
Yeah.
At the very least.
Seems like people are buying into it.
Yeah, exactly. And this kind of goes into my next slide. So, Facebook started out with this currency, the project that they were trying to do, and it was going to be like $1 or like their version of a stable coin, I think. It was called Libra, and it was going to be their cryptocurrency. But they were trying to, they wanted to control it entirely and be able to use it on Facebook and like somehow, like they wanted all the transactions to happen on Facebook to go through this currency. But I heard it was abandoned because there was a lot of regulation rules. I think central banks thought they were overstepping the authority by trying to make it so centralized. At least that's what I've read. So, anyways, that was abandoned. So now there's a new project called, they're calling it ZuckBucks. I don't know if that's really what it's going to be called, but it's going to be
Yeah,
used.
I was about to say, is that really the name?
That's what people internally are calling it. So that's
Okay.
what the article I read called it that. But you can use it to tip creators. TikTok has something similar. You can buy TikTok money and then tip people, and then they can convert it back to cash. That's a thing that already exists. And if that's all it is, that's not that great.
Yeah.
That's kind of
I mean,
who cares.
and that's not really like anything really.
No, but I think a lot of people were speculating that that's going to be the currency that Meta uses in the future and how people do transactions on it. But I hate the idea that if it's just Facebook money that you convert to dollars, that to me sounds horrible. It
I
it's
mean,
fine for Facebook to
uh,
have their own money, but there needs to be all the crypto stuff. You should be able to buy on Facebook and trade on Facebook.
I mean,
That's how it should be.
if you're, yeah,
It's got to be interoperable with the crypto stuff. If they're not, they're going to be screwed, in my
yeah.
opinion. Like, and this is another good point I just thought about. Shouldn't they just utilize Bitcoin? They could just choose Bitcoin to use that. At least we know that it's got more value in a lot of different places.
Yeah. I mean, and then people can actually use it wherever they want to use it, you know?
Right. Yeah, and it could be sent to any wallet anywhere. It could be it's just way more useful. And I think they should use Bitcoin, but ideally they just use all of the cryptocurrencies, and you could
Well,
do
I mean,
any of them.
if it just converts to, the dollar or whatever, um,
But how do you make that conversion make sense?
well, I mean, the reason why they would do it is because it gives them more, um, they can make more money that way.
I
It's
understand that's
like,
why they do it.
okay, well, yeah.
I get that's why they're doing it, but I think it's going to hurt them long term, in my opinion. Because I
I
think that
think,
I don't know.
yeah, I think you're right. I agree with you.
I think that is going to hurt the Meta platform because a lot of the people that are going to make this Meta shit are into the cryptocurrency stuff. So isolating them and forcing them to use Facebook dollars doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. I think it'd be better if you just used actual dollars that like PayPal did than to do some Facebook currency.
Or just like having a cryptocurrency in general, I feel like you kind of it gets people more involved with it. You know what I'm
Yeah, that's what
saying?
I'm saying. It would promote it and make people think, "Oh, Meta's not crazy. They're going to be decentralized too." And a lot of the people who are into this stuff are into crypto. So
Yeah,
it would attract people to want to maybe develop on their platform and make apps on it. I'm
absolutely.
I'm sure there will be plenty of traditional companies willing to make apps on this, anyways. Though I just think they should have a wide variety of options. You know what I mean?
Right.
More options, the better. And they could always charge a fee. They can always charge a fee on whatever cryptos are sent, like a 1% fee or something. I also heard though that Meta is going to charge. You know how Apple's got like a 30% fee on their store.
Yeah.
Meta's going to charge 45% for any app sold, is what I've heard on the Meta
That's
platform. Insane.
that's yeah, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, they're gonna if they do all this stuff like I've been reading this. I don't know.
And
I mean, I don't think they're gonna do very well.
they're just, begging for someone to come and do it better.
Yeah, I mean they might be okay for a while and do well, but I just don't think it's good long term decision making. But I think they're wanting to copy the Apple model, but make it for the Meta, which might be fine because Meta is so. I mean, Facebook and Meta and all that stuff is so popular that they might be able to get away with it and get a lot of people in on it, and the crypto people will just go somewhere else. So
But like, are people like obsessed with Facebook the same way they're obsessed with Apple? I don't think so.
I think he thinks so.
It's not. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't feel like people are
Well, we
like
might be
like
thinking about
Facebook.
it, and if I told somebody I'm going to delete your Facebook, a lot of people would have a heart attack.
Okay, yeah, like okay, I agree. People are like dependent on Facebook and
That's all it really is with
want it,
Apple. People are dependent on Apple. It's the same thing.
but I don't think they like it. If that makes sense.
Or you're saying they're not in love with it like they are Apple products?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I don't know. I think there's a lot of people who are obsessed with it. There's so many people that spend tons of time on it, like lots
Fair
of
enough.
time. And also, Instagram is a part of Facebook too. So if I told somebody I'm going to take away your Instagram and your Facebook account, you'll never get it again, a lot of people would be crazy.
People do like it. Yeah, I agree.
Also,
You're
think about
right.
this. They have a digital ghost there. They have the digital life they've already built up with all these posts.
Yeah, people like the side effects like that comes with it, I guess.
And they've got all this history there. So if
Yeah,
I deleted it, it's like I'm taking away a lot of their digital footprint.
right. It's like you're erasing a piece of them.
I mean, seriously, I think it is that deep. So they may pretend to hate it because some people don't like their practices or whatever. But but there's the same thing with Apple. It's like you can't use SD cards. You have to change a charger to a different, you know, you have to buy pointless accessories all the time. But people do it anyways just because they're like, well, it's Apple, it's what I like. I think
Yeah,
it's sort
yeah,
of a similar thing. So he might. So I'm saying if people migrate to the metaverse idea and get into the glasses stuff, a lot of people will probably just prefer to use Facebook shit just because they're already on it.
true.
I'm not saying. I think though the people who are really into it will probably choose something else. You know what I mean? They'll probably look at Facebook. It's sort of the same thing today. People who are really, more nerdy and nuanced. They're using like Discord and different other means for communication. They don't use any of the other stuff for social stuff.
Yeah,
And like, if you heard of Telegram, that's really popular too because it's really privacy centric.
I've heard of it, but not really familiar with it.
So I mean, I guess from a profitability standpoint, Facebook has a lot of backing because normal regular folks like Facebook, so that's kind of a big deal. So they'll probably do fine anyways. I just think I don't like it. I wish they wouldn't do that. I wish they'd make it more open, but we'll see what they do.